Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here and welcome to episode 17 of the San Marino Challenge. Now, today's episode is going to be a game against AS Livorno, as well as a bit of an end of season review where we're going to go through some of the players who have performed well this season and maybe some of the players that haven't performed well that might be leaving the club. Because we've got a few transfers coming in. I'll briefly go over them here. As you can see, there's quite a few. Yeah, it's quite a few. I was going to say that's not too many, but yeah, there's quite a few. Now, I've been thinking to myself about changing the tactic because I think where we are now, we're sort of limited. We're sort of limiting ourselves with the way that we play. I don't think it's as positive as I want it to be. I want to play a more positive, sort of free-flowing, attacking sort of tactic that allows, some of the better players that we do have now to sort of flourish and maybe, score a few more goals than we're sort of accustomed to at the moment. But as you can see, we've got a couple of centre-backs. I'm really trying to focus on the defence a little bit. And then we're also going to side a few wingers as well. I'm thinking about using a tactic with inside forwards. I know we might be a little bit low down in terms of leagues. We're still in the third tier. That might be a bit of a risk, but yeah, we're bringing in 3 wingers and we're just going to see what happens. They're of somewhat decent quality as well, these wingers. So yeah, good pace, crossing, dribbling. Sort of what you would want. I won't show you any of their profiles because we'll save that for the pre-season episode, the pre-season review. But yeah, let's go into the recent fixtures. We do still currently sit in 10th. Actually, I'll show you the league table. It's not really too different. As you can see, we're still in 10th. We're 2 points behind Cesena. And then we've got Medina, who are quite a bit away from us now. They're 6 points ahead of us in 8th. And basically, if we want to go into the playoffs, we need to win today's game because Alto, Aldj, they're 2 points behind us, so they could essentially leapfrog us if we do draw, although we do have better goal difference. But yeah, if we lose today, we might be out. So it's a very important game. Livorno, they're a really good team. They were in second for most of the season, but they've dropped down to 4th. However, they could go back into second if they do win this game against us. So, yeah, they've got a bit to play for in terms of where they finish in the playoffs as well. But yeah, the fixtures haven't been that great. Of course, previous episode was just a dreadful performance against league rivals or arch rivals Medina. And I mean, in that game, we had absolutely nothing. And I was really disappointed because it kind of ruined the episode a little bit. But we did bounce back after that game with a 3-0 victory over Gavorano. I think they were one of the second worst team in the league, perhaps. That was somewhere down like 19th, 18th, somewhere around there. And as you can see, we beat them 3-0. Goals coming from Krasniki, Scavola, and Gasperi. The next game was against Triestina, and as you can see, we lost 2-0. Really disappointing to lose in this fashion as well. As you can see, Petrella, I mean, he's not that impressive, but he's probably a little bit better than what we have, and he managed to score 2 goals in that game. We then bounced back in the next game against Viz Pesaro with a 2-1 victory at home. Pellini in the first minute, and then we went 2-0 up through a Gasperi penalty, and then unfortunately we gave a penalty away, and they managed to score that goal. But we did still win, so that was kind of positive. However, the next game was another 2-0 loss away from home, coming against Albino Leffe, who at this time were in 11th behind us. So losing this game was a bit of pill to swallow, and I think without these couple of wins that we had, we definitely would have slid out of the playoff race. So the next game, we also bounced back with a 2-0 victory at home. So our home form has been pretty decent, and the away form has essentially been dreadful since the last episode. So yeah, 2-0 victory over Viterbese. Goals coming from Racina and Mercy with a penalty. We then lost 1-0 to Rimini Calcio, who I believe are third in the league. They're very high up there. Only lost 1-0, so it wasn't too bad. Their goal came in the 70th minute. And the most recent game I played was against the champions. So yeah, Teramo have won our group in Lega Pro, so Serie C. And they'll be promoted into Serie B next season. As you can see, they opened the scoring in the 12th minute, and then Krasniki got one back and leveled the scoring in the 37th minute. And as you can see, worth noting that they got 2 players sent off in stoppage time, which is crazy. But we couldn't find a winner, disappointingly. Alright, let's get into the lineup here, nice and quick. In goals, we're going to go with San Giorgi. I mean, it's essentially the same lineup. I've tweaked it a little bit, but, you know, it's essentially the same lineup. Salcuni, Caputo, and Mercy are the back 3. Vittorini and Trillo are the 2 wingbacks. Scavola as the defensive midfielder. Fabri comes back in after his injury. He recovered from his injury. And they got Deseto, Gasperi, and as always, Krasniki actually picked up an injury. He was out for 4 weeks, sort of when the poor form was happening, the couple of losses that we got there. But he comes back in, and I mean, without him, I think it's fair to say that we probably would have struggled this season. On the bench, we got Pozzi, Stefanelli, Racina, Zortia, Cirillo, Pellini, and Raza. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird season. It's been above expectation. Well, they got a lot of regens. Interesting. Yeah, it's been a weird season. It really has. Unsupported team talk comment. What is that? Is that a bug or something? I have never seen that before in my life. Yeah, I'm just going to tell the boys tell them good luck out there. Apparently, so we only need the draw. A draw or a win, and obviously we can't lose. Well, we can lose if they lose as well, but yeah, like I said, I'll go back on topic. This season, avoiding relegation was the must-do, the expectation. So for us to sort of be mid-table, you know, top 10 in the playoff, I would say it's a pretty big success. However, I know it's kind of rough to say, but I wanted to at least be trying to push into the top sort of title challenges. I know it's probably a season too early to be doing that. However, I want to progress, and I think that the faster that we do progress, the better this challenge is going to be, because in terms of developing San Marinese players, we essentially need to be at least in Serie B and be getting the money that comes with the TV rights and so on. Of course, also the commercial deals, in order to, you know, further our, you know, youth development and, you know, especially the training ground as well. Because it's all well and good, you know, I've gotten a couple of somewhat good San Marinese regens, but they're not developing because our training ground it's pretty pathetic. So the sooner we get into that, the better. We're in the 65th minute here, which is crazy because, I mean, not much has really happened. Livorno do have the ball, though, and they are a pretty good team. They might be resting players, but they do get the goal there through one of their regens, first goal of the season as well. And we do go 1-0 down, so not exactly, you know, ending the season well are our boys, but come on, Fabri, with a free kick, just wide. Come on, you've got to be doing better than that. I don't really know why he's taking the free kicks. I would have thought Gasperi's... Is Fabri good at free kicks? I can't even remember. We're going to bring Pellini on. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it at that, to be honest. There's not really much else we can do. Maybe Racina. Yeah, we'll bring Racina on as well. Why not? Yeah, Trillo was pretty low on the condition there. But yeah, it's another really disappointing 1-0 loss by the looks of it. There's only, 10 seconds left of the game. And yeah, it's a free kick. So I feel like this tactic is just... It's not up to... It's not going to be a title-winning tactic in this division. That's how I feel at the moment. I might be wrong. We might come back to it if the other tactic I'm looking at doesn't work. It is a 4-3-3. I'm just going to tell the boys I'm not pleased. I mean, I don't even know if that's going to put us out of the top 10. It's not going to, which is awesome, because that means we're in the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bitter pill to swallow, that one. We're going to just advance a little bit here. So we have been drawn in the first round against San Marino Calcio. We have beaten them this season, I believe. Let me just have a quick little look at the fixtures here. Where's San Marino? Okay, so we lost in a friendly. Yeah, as you can see, we beat them 2-0 just recently. Not too recently, but away from home. And we also lost to them in one of the first games of the season. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. They were actually our first loss of the season. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think we can beat them and progress to the next round. So that'll be next episode. I think I'm just going to go straight with that one. I think it'll be interesting because it's a playoff game, albeit the first round. But I think the competition is a lot stronger than, of course, Serie D, or the Serie D Cup competitions for us last season anyway. Alright, so let's get into the player stats. I'd like to go into the squad here and we'll do it this way. So obviously, best performer this season, Krasniki, 16 goals in only 22 games. That is pretty crazy. A 7.5 average rating for those 22 games as well. Yeah, by far and above the best player in the team at the moment. I mean, if we look at his profile, it's just his strength and his pace, which he's kind of losing at the moment. Yeah, strength, pace, really good finishing. Exactly what you want. He's only 20 years old as well, which I feel is pretty incredible. Anyways, the next best player was Pellini, with a 7.09, 5 goals, 5 assists, which is a pretty decent return, considering most of the season was played as our defensive midfielder. He did spend a little bit of time at centre mid once we got Scavola, who is the third best player so far this season. Only started 12 games with 4 sub-appearances, 7.07 rating for him during those games. But I think he sort of did find his way into that defensive midfielder position, which, might have been the wrong move, but we went with it anyway. We still finished top 10, which is great. Vittorini, of course, on loan from Pescara. Such a good player. He's actually off contract, but he doesn't want to talk with us, so we'll monitor that situation, and then hopefully he might he might come. We'll just have to wait and see on that. And then we have, of course, stalwart at the club, Gasperi. Another really good season for him, 7.01, 40 games, 40 starts, 9 goals, 7 sub-appearances. It's a pretty good return. We'll just go over a couple more. We got Mercy and Salcuni here. Mercy with a 6.96 and Salcuni with a 6.93. Of course, both of our ball-playing centre defenders who have, they've played really well this season, to be honest. Of course, we didn't lose too many games, but, I think we need to upgrade the defence. That's sort of where we're at now. I mean, we brought in Caputo, but he really hasn't played that well, to be honest, which I expected more from him, because I thought he was one of the better defenders that we've brought into the club. But in his first season, 41 starts, 6.81. It's kind of not as good as I want from a player that looks this good, if that makes sense. Now, he does play the central defender in the middle of our back three. He's only got 7 passing, which is a reason why I don't really want to play him as a ball-playing defender. However, we might have to do that, and that might suit him a little bit better, because as a centre defender, he doesn't really have the heading or the jumping that he might need in that position. So I'm sort of just wondering to myself if we might slot him into the left centre-back role. Whoopsies. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. And just behind him, another player we brought into the club this season, Tessetto. 6.78. Again, not too great, not consistent enough. He did get 6 assists for himself, and he was primarily playing as the advanced playmaker in the midfield trio, of course. I mean, he's an exciting young prospect, but if you look at his current ability, it's only 1.5 star, which I really feel like is just not good enough. I mean, if you look at all the other players that are ahead of him, I mean, in theory, I should have just been playing Cirillo the whole season. But he himself was pretty dreadful. Pretty dreadful. But he does have the highest rating as a centre midfielder, which is crazy. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to really go over. Fabry, of course, was out injured for about half the season. To be fair, 24 games started, 2 sub-appearances. He got 4 goals, 2 assists, and a 6.84, which is higher than Tessetto as well. Interesting, not too much higher, but a little bit higher. Being San Marinese, of course, he's got up to 7 caps now. He's only 1 star current ability, which is, yeah, dreadful. But honestly, I have a bit of a soft spot for him. I really do. And I hope that, he will join us for most of his career. There's not really much else to go over in terms of players, I guess. I'll give you a quick little look at the under-18s. We did sign this guy. Again, he's nothing really too special, but I guess it's a positive because he's a winger, and we're going to try and make that transition into using wingers or inside forwards more than likely. But yeah, apart from him, we also got this goalkeeper who's, again, he's San Marinese, but he's really average. He's got good determination, I guess, but yeah, nothing else apart from that. And yeah, that was pretty much the youth intake for this season. I didn't even bother showing it in the last episode because I thought it was pretty weak, pretty pathetic. As far as the finances go, 513,000 in the bank, which is incredible. The projection looks horrible for whatever reason, but we do get, of course, the TV money in Serie C. It's pretty low compared to Serie B and, of course, Serie A, but it definitely will keep us afloat in terms of the club and the finances and, how much we can spend on the wages as well. As you can see, the wage budget is just below 25,000, and at the moment we're only spending just under 13. So we'll see how things go. Next season, apparently, we're spending just over 16,000. So hopefully we're progressing a little bit further, and making the squad better to actually challenge for first place, which is the ultimate goal. Well, in Serie C. I think that's everything, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the episode. Another really disappointing loss, but 2 1-0 defeats back-to-back in episodes is demoralising for me. It's probably pretty demoralising for you as well, but I mean, we're mid-table. We are right at the bottom of the top 10. Well, the playoff spots, I guess you would call them. But for the first season, I think that's a pretty decent spot to be in. I mean, our form up until sort of the end of the season was pretty good. And I think I'll take that definitely for our first season. I mean, if you look at it, we're only, 18 points? Is that right? Yeah, 18 points behind first place. It can be done. It can be done. We're going to use the new tactic. Anyways, I hope you'll join me for the next episode, which will be this first round playoff game against Ternana. Yeah, should be a good one. Thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.